Hello, everyone, and welcome to ABC, all about Canada, where we inform, educate, and inspire our fellow Filipinos about interesting issues happening in the community today. I am your host. My name is Rovi Canono. I'm an immigration consultant and also a realtor. Today, we have a very interesting topic, very hot topic especially for Filipinos who would like to work in Canada. The, the topic is 10 tips when applying for LMIA. And we have a very special guest joining us to explain these 10 tips. She is an RCIC, or a Regulated Canadian Immigration Consultant dash IRB, or Immigration and Refugee Board. She is a graduate of my school as well in the immigration world, Ashton College. Ang difference lang namin, she graduated with honors. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Debbie Piandong.
Hello. Good day everyone. Sana nakikinig and happy ang lahat ngayon.
Yes,
Good day, Robbie. Kumusta?
mabuti and good to see you, Debbie. Isa sa mga sikat na RCIC sa British Columbia. Nakakapanood ako ng inyong mga vlog kung saan ka nagpupunta. Oo.
Salamat.
Oo. Alam mo, interesado siguro ang ating mga tagapakinig o tagapanood. Taga saan ba si Debbie Piandong sa Pilipinas?
Ayun, sa mga nakikinig na nunood, I'm originally from Surigao. So, Siargao, kadalasan, or Bislig, yun yung mga sikat na lugar sa amin. So, Bisaya ako. So, I know Bisaya, Tagalog, English.
Pakibati naman ang ating mga Bisaya na kaibigan.
Ayun, kumusta sa inyong tanan? Unta, kamudiha, maayo tanan. Kaya ako maayo.
Oo. Paano ka naman napunta sa being an immigration consultant?
Yes, ayun nga, marami ding nagtatanong sa akin bakit ako naging immigration consultant. But kasi, sa ano namin, I was from Leal Town. So, dumating ako ng Canada in 2010. And then, maliit na town lang yung pinanggalingan ko. And so, ang kadalasan talaga andon is mga white. So, mga puti. And wala kaming immigration consultant na Pilipino. And somehow, lahat ng mga friends ko at that time sa akin lumalapit. So, sabi ko, kung maraming lumalapit sa akin, might as well make this a profession, 'di ba? Kasi at least nakakatulong ka, and then at the same time you're able to make money out of it. And that's the reason why I became a consultant. So, from my friends pushing me, and then ayun, naging ka siya, parang that convinced me na mag-immigration consultant.
It's a good story, nice story. Ngayon, mga kababayan, bilang RCIC or Regulated Canadian Immigration Consultant, yan ay nakadikit dun sa pangalan. Kunwari, Debbie Piandong, RCIC, Rovi Canono, RCIC. Pero siya, meron tinatawag na RCIC IRB or Immigration Refugee Board. Paki-explain naman yan, Debbie, kung ano yung IRB na yun.
Okay, thank you. So, yung RCIC, sabi nga ni Rovi kanina, it's para sa mga Regulated Canadian Immigration Consultants. So, ibig sabihin, we were able to collect payments sa mga clients. And we are authorized by the IRCC, so yung Government of Canada, to collect payment. Ngayon naman, if yung RCIC may nakaakibat na IRB, so ang ibig sabihin nun is bukod sa mga immigration advice, we are able to represent clients sa immigration board. So ano ba ibig sabihin nun? So let's say for example, ikaw ay nag-apply ng spouse mo, and then you were refused. So normally, kapag na-refuse ka, you have two ways. You can, reapply again, or you can appeal the decision, the refusal. So, for a regular RCIC, hindi sila pwedeng mag-guide, mag-help sa'yo, and mag-represent sa'yo when you do the appeal. But for an RCIC, IRB, so kami, nag-represent kami ng clients sa mga spousal appeals or even yung mga immigration division appeals. So kapag before ka remove sa Canada, you want to appeal your case, you can reach out to us. So it can be us, the RCIC, IRB, or the lawyers that you can reach out.
So kumbaga ay pwede kayong parang abogado na rin kung tutuusin, ano? Kasi pwede kayong mag-represent ng client sa mga hearing. Very good.
Correct.
Okay, so ang topic natin mga kababayan ay 10 tips when applying for LMIA. So bago natin puntahan yung 10 tips na yan, ay ano ba, Debbie, ang importansya nitong LMIA? Ano ba itong LMIA na to? Bakit napaka-hot itong LMIA na salita na ito sa mga kababayan natin na gustong pumunta rito para magtrabaho?
Ayun nga, yung LMIA, it stands for Labor, L, Market, M, I, Impact, A, Assessment. So ano ba ibig sabihin nito? So yung mga employers dito sa Canada, they cannot just apply for a work permit for a temporary foreign worker. So before sila mag-apply ng work permit para sa isang temporary foreign worker, they have to demonstrate, kailangan patunayan nila na yung business nila nag-try mag-hire ng mga locals, nag-try mag-hire ng mga Canadian, ng mga permanent residents, but walang available na workers. So walang Canadian, merong Canadian pero hindi sufficient yung experience, or merong PR pero hindi sufficient yung experience, o kaya hindi interested yung Canadians or PR. So kapag napatunayan nila through advertisement na walang interested, walang available workers, that is the only time that they are able to apply for a work permit. And for you, as a proof, kailangan mo yung Labor Market Impact Assessment. So ayun yung LMIA.
Yun, maliwanag na maliwanag. Kumbaga, ito ay proteksyon ng mga Canadians at mga PR na sila muna ang inuuna na magtrabaho, magkaroon ng trabaho, di ba? Bago kumuha ng foreign workers. Okay, maliwanag. So pupunta na tayo sa top 10. Top 10 tips when applying for LMIA courtesy of Debbie Piandong, our RCIC IRB guest. Number 10.
So number 10 is you have to understand the LMIA process. So kanina tinanong ni Rovi kung ano yung LMIA. So short answer, ito yung katunayan na walang available Canadians, PR, na pwedeng mag-work sa advertised position. Pero paano ba, so kapag interested ka, if you are a temporary foreign worker and you are wanting to come here as a worker, you have to understand na ang LMIA is, kailangan mo talaga yon. Like, there is no shortcut. There are other circumstances or there are sometimes na hindi na required ang LMIA based sa kung meron ka ng provincial nomination or kaya meron ka ng pending PR applications, but generally speaking, ang LMIA talaga is kailangan. So kailangan siya. So ibig sabihin, kapag may nag-reach out sa'yo, tas sasabihin na meron akong work permit, tapos walang mention of LMIA or non-LMIA, kabahan ka na doon. Kasi baka ang ibig sabihin nun, niloloko ka lang, di ba? So, just be careful in, yun, dapat alam mo kung ano yung process ng LMIA, kasi if not, kung hindi mo in-educate yung self mo, talagang baka, ma-scam ka, kumbaga.
So, kumbaga, para maano mo na sigurado yung LMIA, kumontak sa isang licensed immigration consultant ng Canada.
Yes.
Alright. Okay, number 9, Debbie, tips para sa applying ng LMIA.
Number 9 is to watch out for ineligible employers. So, ano bang ibig sabihin nun? So, ang Canada kasi, meron silang very strict sila when releasing LMIA. And they always remind employers na there are certain standards na kailangan mong i-follow. If ikaw, employer, hindi ka nag-follow and napatunayan ng Canada na hindi ka nag-follow, then you might be canceled and you will be posted as an ineligible employer. So ano ba impact nun sa mga temporary foreign workers? So number one, the impact would be si ineligible employer kapag hindi sila pwede kumuha ng LMIA. So kapag nag-try silang kumuha ng LMIA, X agad. So hindi i-approve. Refusal to process again. And number two, kapag ikaw ay worker or kahit na student ka in Canada and nag-work ka or sa ineligible na employer na yan, you will be penalized. So, magiging void lahat ng experience mo because you are working for an ineligible employer. And so, the question is, paano mo ba malalaman kung sino-sino yung mga ineligible employers, right? So, the ineligible employers, you can find it out. Google mo lang, ineligible employer, Service Canada or IRCC, and it would give you the list. So there's a bunch of them.
Yung bang list na yon ay naka-mention ang bawat employer name o talaga hindi lang yung ganitong kategorya ng negosyo? Talagang yung name mismo, kumbaga ABC Limited Incorp, mga ganon?
Yes,
so
naka-mention talaga siya.
Kumbaga na-disqualify na sila, parang ganon, o kaya ay may problema. Okay, that's a good tip. That's a good tip. Okay. Papasok na tayo sa tip number 8 when applying for LMIA.
Number 8 naman is to learn about the refusal to process conditions. So, ano ba ibig sabihin nun? So, may mga circumstances na si IRCC or si Service Canada, they will not allow, just to be specific, ESDC, so ang nagbibigay ng what they call this, ng LMIA. So sila very specific sila kung sino yung bibigyan nila ng LMIA.
So may mga ay EDC?
ESDC.
Medyo na-cut ka eh.
ESDC. So eto sila, very specific sila sa mga conditions. So ano ba yung mga yung mga conditions na hindi nila i-process yung LMIA. So ang very popular for Filipinos, I think kasi nagtatagalog tayo, diba? So kadalasan mga Pilipino yung mga viewers and listeners natin. So yung kadalasan na refusal to process is yung mga caregivers. So yung mga caregivers, so just make sure that you listen to this kasi maraming caregivers, diba, pumupunta dito na caregivers. So yung mga caregivers na possessions, if you are a tourist visa holder dito and you're applying as a caregiver in Canada for the very first time, you didn't have a student permit or a work permit before, you are not eligible for a work permit. There will be a refusal to process doon sa LMIA mo. Okay? So that's one thing. Another thing, so ang LMIA kasi may iba-iba siyang types of LMIA. So may tinatawag na low wage LMIA. So ibig sabihin nun, yung median wage ng kung ang halimbawa sa BC, ang median wage is let's say $29, tapos yung offered wage is nasa $20 lang. So ang i-apply ng employer na LMIA is under the low wage category. So now, kapag mag-a-apply si employer under the low wage category, merong cap na tinatawag. Ano ba yung cap? So yung cap, ito yung minimum, ito yung maximum, yung limit na pwedeng i-hire na temporary foreign worker ni employer. So currently, nasa generally speaking, 20%. So dapat 20% lang ng total workforce ni employer ang TFW. If not, if more than that, then hindi sila pwede na mag-hire ng TFW or mga temporary foreign workers. There are some conditions na pwede 30%, merong iba exempted sa cap, pero generally speaking, it's 20%. So, and our viewers or our listeners should know that.
Oo nga, maraming turista. Actually, para bang nagiging strategy na ng mga ibang tao na pumunta rito bilang turista tapos mag-a-apply na ng hoping na merong tumanggap sa kanila na may LMIA. At isa na nga dyan yung binanggit mo na meron yung mga caregivers. Okay, so mga kababayan, ingat. Hindi lahat pwede dito sa Canada na mag-apply bilang caregiver. Okay, punta na tayo sa pang-ilang tip na? Number 7?
Pang-seven,
Number
yes.
7 from Debbie Piando.
So, number 7 is be patient naman. So, ano bang ibig sabihin ko dito? So, the LMIA process, it will, kailangan 'di ba i-advertise, and the employer will have to advertise this for 4 weeks. So, kung 4 weeks i-advertise, hindi pa yan, kumbaga, isasubmit niya pa lang yung application in the 5th week or in the 6th week. And then, so, 1.5 month agad yon. The posted processing time would take about 48 days. 48, so that's like 48 to 60 days. So that's like 2 months agad, right? So there can be a problem during the process. The officer reviewing the case might have something that he or she will ask to the employer. There's a lot of things like the employer might need a certificate of registration. So the process can be lengthy. So baka aabot siya ng 6 months, 8 months, who knows, right? I have a client, I have an employer na halos umabot kami ng isang taon to get an LMIA. So by that being said, it is very important that you know the process and you also have to be patient with the process. Kasi, walang ano nga yung kasabihan na nothing, parang mas masarap kung nag-aantay. So, it's the same thing with the LMIA.
Meron akong tanong.
Mhm.
Meron bang mga advertisements na naghahanap kunwari, pero sa totoo lang, meron na silang napiling mga tao?
That's a good question. Yes, there is. Sa job bank actually, kadalasan na makikita niyo sa job bank is a government website wherein employers are required to submit the to advertise the position doon. So, and kadalasan, when the employer submit an advertisement doon, meron na talaga silang may target na talaga silang mga
Kaya
employer.
mga kababayan, kaya ako nabanggit yan kasi nga, requirement kasi yung publication ng advertisement. Kahit na meron na silang in mind na taong kukunin. Kaya ang mga kababayan natin, nagtataka, nag-a-apply daw sila diyan sa mga job banks, hindi raw sila sinasagot. O ngayon, alamin na kung bakit. Dahil yung ina-applyan nyo, for requirement purposes lang ng ibang kumpanya at hindi ka talaga i-entertainin dahil meron na sila in mind. Tama?
Correct.
Yan ang
Yes.
kalakalan no?
Oo.
Okay, thank you so much. Punta na tayo sa tip number 6.
Number 6, yes.
Number 6.
So the tip number 6 is to check the offered wage rate. So kasi when an employer is applying for an LMIA, kailangan i-meet niya yung median wage ng position. So ano bang ibig sabihin ng median wage? So of course, the median wage is the average wage ng lahat ng mga employers in a specific location, na lahat ng average nun, tapos kung ano yung average, that would be the median wage, right?
Mhm.
So halimbawa, if you also check this at job bank. So let's say for example, may lumapit sa'yo na employer or consultant or agent, right? And then they would say that they have a LMIA approved position and it is for a food counter attendant, and the job offer is $40 per hour. O, 'di ba? Kabahan ka na doon kasi based on the median wage ng food counter attendant, nasa around ano lang 'yan, minimum wage, 'di ba? So kung ano yung minimum wage ng province, kadalasan ayun yung median wage. So if there is someone that is approaching you and is promising you that they have a job offer and they're willing to pay $40 for a food counter attendant, so that should be a question and that should be a red flag to you already.
Kumbaga, too good to be true. $40, ano?
Correct.
Masyadong malaki nga naman yun.
Mm-mm.
Yun ang tip number 6. Ingatan, kung masyadong maganda ang offer, mag-isip-isip ka na. Tip number 5 na tayo, mga kababayan.
So, the tip number 5 is to check job bank with a caution. Kasi we already mentioned that lahat ng mga employers, they are required to advertise the position sa job bank. So that being said, lahat ng employers is meron talaga silang posting sa job bank, right? So if you are looking for a LMIA, for an employer offering an LMIA, so the good start would be to check job bank, but with a caution, because again, since requirement siya, hindi mo mafi-filter kung sino yung mga employers ang talagang genuinely naghahanap ng mga workers. But again, it's a good place to start if you're looking for something.
Oo, tama yun. Kaya ako minsan ina-advise ko sa mga tao, tumingin ka na dun sa mismong website ng kumpanya. Sa job bank kasi maraming nagpo-post lang for qualification or requirement purposes. Yan po ang tip number 5 kung paano ang application ng LMIA. Pupunta na tayo sa tip number 4.
Ayun, yung pang 4 is do background check. So, ano bang ibig sabihin when you do a background check? So, as mentioned earlier, hindi lahat qualified to offer immigration advice, and hindi lahat ng napapanood, napapakinggan natin, legitimate.
Sino yung background check nila? Ito ba yung kausap nila o yung employee?
Lahat, oo. Kailangan nilang i-background check si employer. Kailangan din nila i-background check yung kausap nila. Okay? Kasi so sa employer, kadalasan yan, kung corporation siya, there is a pwede mo siyang ma-background check through a quick check in Google. And kung ano naman siya, immigration consultant naman siya or lawyer naman siya, you can always do a background check. Madali lang siya kasi lahat naman online na ngayon, 'di ba? And especially if you're dealing with a immigration consultant, you just Google RCIC, check my consultant, and then you will find out right away if that consultant is legitimate.
Kasi mga kababayan, tama si Debbie, nagkalat na ngayon. Nakapunta lang sa Canada, nakakuha lang ng ganitong permit, naging naging advisor na siya. 'Di ba? Magaling lang siya sa TikTok, magaling lang siya marunong lang siya mag-film ng sarili niya. Nasa Facebook na. Nasa ganitong na at nagbibigay na ng advice. Illegal po 'yan. Illegal na illegal 'yan sa Canada. Magkano ba ang balita mo na penalty diyan sa mga nagbibigay ng advice na hindi naman regulated Canadian immigration consultant na katulad ni Debbie? More or less. Kasi dati ang balitaan ko, sige.
Hindi, wala actually talagang specific penalty kung magkano. Pero I think it's a criminal I'm not really sure if it's a criminal offense, pero if you are a worker here and it's a criminal offense, 'di ba? Baka ma-filean ka ng criminal offense, so it might impact your future immigration application and even your PR application, right?
Meron akong nabasa dati na fine yung 100,000.
For because of ghost consultant ba yan?
Kung hindi ako nagkakamali, ganun yung aking but basta hindi siya may problema siya sa hindi siya immigration consultant o nag-lapse yung kanyang license, something like that. Okay, that is tip number 4.
So the third tip would be to be online. So be online. Ano bang ibig sabihin noon? With the advent of social media technology, so everything is online now. So you can't get an LMIA approved job by looking at the newspaper or watching your TV. No, not gonna work like that. So check muna ngayon ang be online, go sa social media, check LinkedIn or kaya Indeed if you wanna check if you wanna get an employer willing to support an LMIA. So doon ka na pumunta, online ka na dapat. So and also kapag sinabi natin online, be worry lang kasi because nga ang dami na available na lahat because of technology and because of social media. Just be careful sa kung ano yung mga pinapakinggan natin, wina-watch natin kasi of course sa daming information, baka yung information na mapipick up mo nung online ka is maling information pala. So just be wary of you should be online para makakuha ka ng employer, but just be careful and just parang pick ka lang ng mga legitimate information.
Good point. Oo. Next, pang-ilang tip na tayo? Pangalawa, sa countdown ng 10 to 1.
Yes. So, the second tip would be PR ready. So, dapat PR ready tayo. So, ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng PR ready? So, ibig pong sabihin nun, kasi kapag nag-a-apply tayo ng job sa Canada or if you're looking for an employer na magsusupport ng LMIA nyo, si employer kadalasan maghahanap ng proof ng English proficiency mo. Si employer, kadalasan maghahanap, and sometimes it's a requirement sa job din, maghahanap sila na kung ano yung equivalent, kung ano yung equivalent ng credentials mo. So, when I say BP already, so dapat meron ka ng IELTS or CELPIP to prove that you are proficient enough for the job. Second, kung ang requirement is at least kadalasan may requirement na education requirement si 'di ba, si employer. So of course, in order for you to demonstrate na you meet that educational requirement, then you will have to have an educational credential assessment by a governing body para mapatunayan na na-meet mo yung educational requirement ni employer. And also these two, etong English proficiency exam, mostly that's IELTS and CELPIP, and educational credential assessment, you will also need this when you process your PR. So it's always a good idea to have these two handy. So be PR ready, you get your English exam, you get your educational credential assessment, and finally, number 3 is you get all your certificates of employment from your previous and current employer. Kasi mahirap maghabol kapag wala ka na sa Philippines. So you get everything. And when I say certificate of employment, it means dapat merong mga job-specific responsibilities doon nakalagay. So kung ano yung mga responsibilities mo in the past when you were doing a certain job, dapat naka-reflect yun sa certificate of employment because you will be needing that when you apply for your permanent residency or perhaps your work permit application or LMIA.
Ikaw ba na kunwari ay nag-apply as a worker, nabigyan ka na ng LMIA, okay, sabihin na, may LMIA ka na. Meron pa bang pagkakataon na ma-revoke yun somehow bago ka makarating dito sa Canada? Something like that?
So, the work permit, may chance na ma-revoke?
May kumbaga ay 100% sure na ba na sa'yo na yon at makakarating ka na ng Canada? Something like that?
That's a good question. Sa immigration, there is no guarantee talaga of being successful. You are only guaranteed when you have your work permit already. Remember, the work permit, you only get this at the border. So, kung nasa Pilipinas ka pa lang, you are outside Canada, you will not be able to get the work permit kapag nasa labas ka pa lang. So, ibig sabihin nito, kung wala ka pang work permit, so hindi pa sigurado lahat, right? Because there can be a tendency na matatanggal or hindi ka i-issuehan ng work permit. So, ano ba yung mga halimbawa nito?
Ayan.
So, number 1, nandun ka na sa border. you are nakalusot ka sa immigration sa Philippines, nag-present mo yung sarili mo sa immigration border ng Canada. And then, nung na-interview ka ni officer, sabi kasi you were applying for a, let's say, manager, retail manager. So, if you're a retail manager, expectation would be you will be dealing with a lot of people, right? Clients. And so, you have to be at least proficient in English, right? Hindi proficient, pero at least you're able to communicate in English. And now, when you present yourself at the border, tapos tinanong ka ng officer, how are you? Pero hindi ka makasagot. So that would be a red flag because you're supposed to know at least a basic English, but then you're not able to respond, and you are applying for a retail manager. So baka hindi ka bigyan ng work permit, 'di ba? So ayun yung that's one example. Another example is ganito, may mga lumalapit sa akin na client at nagiging nagiging uso. So, merong mga kasi 'di ba, merong mga employers na mag-a-apply sila ng LMIA. But they really don't have the capacity to fulfill that LMIA. So wala talaga silang job para sa specific individual na binigyan nila ng LMIA. Pero because sometimes it's easy to apply for LMIA, right? So they would issue, they will submit or they will ask for LMIAs, tapos na-approve, tapos ipamimigay with fees sa mga workers. And then now, because they don't have the financial capacity to fulfill that LMIA, hindi nila papapuntahin dito si worker. So, ano ba yung impact nun sa worker? So, si worker, kung pinagbayad na ng LMIA, thinking, syempre, magbabayad na siya lahat, right? Thinking na, okay na lahat, na nabigyan na siya ng visa, pero ang ending, tenga lang pala siya somewhere else. Na ano mo yun? So, meron na silang work permit visa. Nabigyan na sila ng work permit visa because they have the LMIA and they were, the work permit application was processed, right? Pero yung totoo pala, the employer is only after sa money because he or she charged the workers for LMIA fees, which is not supposed to be the case, right? So because nakapagbayad na si worker, and he thought or she thought, the worker thought na valid yung lahat ng process, hindi scam kasi nga meron may stamp na yung passport niya eh. Pero ang reality pala nun, pinagkaperahan lang siya ni employer or ng agent. So that's
saklap naman yan.
May mga ganong lumalapit sa akin. And then there's
mga
also
kababayan yan?
Meron. And that's sad. Sad story kasi
baka naman hindi sila kasi tinulungan ng isang licensed immigration consultant ng Canada. No?
Yes, that's
somehow siguro.
Oo, baka ayun 'yun. And then and finally may story pa na yung so merong mga employers. Remember I told you about the ineligible employers. So let's say for example, during a certain time si employer nag-submit ng LMIA application and then na-approve na yung LMIA, na-approve din yung work permit application ng worker, and then suddenly nag-inspection si Service Canada, si IRCC, and na-found out nila na hindi pala nag-comply sa terms and condition ng job offer ng isang worker, si employer. So ngayon, this employer becomes an ineligible employer. So, ang impact nun sa mga workers na na-approve. So, kahit na meron ka ng approved na work permit, na visa, na stampa na yung passport mo, but then because the employer becomes an ineligible employer, then hindi na pwede si worker pumunta ng Canada because wala na siyang employer.
So it happens yung mga ganyang medyo masasaklap na mga siyempre, kung meron kayong sa immigration side naman, kung meron kayong criminal record, tama ba? At kung sa medical naman, kung meron kayong hindi karamdaman na findings, pwede ring hindi rin kayo matuloy sa pagpunta sa Canada. Tama ba?
Correct.
Ah,
And sorry, last na lang, yung alam mo yung mga nanloloko ng application, yung they fake their application. So there are certain times also na kung halimbawa ikaw ay na-approve na ng LMIA and also ng work permit, but then because pinake mo yung, let's say, yung credentials mo and IRCC found it, tapos nasa Philippines ka pa lang or you're outside Canada, so they can always cancel your visa. So just be careful with that.
oo. Meron ganyan, ano? Meron ganyan. Ultimo bank statement or whatever, nabubuking yan, mga kababayan, baka akala nyo. Di ba? Okay, so that is tip number 2 out of 10. So, isa na lang?
Isa na lang.
Last na lang. Ito na yung isa sa mga tip kung paano kayo makakapag-apply ng LMIA o tips sa pagkuha ng LMIA.
Okay. And finally, the last one, and I think this is the very important one, is network with the right people. So, ano bang ibig sabihin ko niyan? So, di ba nga, ang ingay-ingay na ng social media, ang ingay-ingay na ng mundo, and, you just have to find the right people to help you. So, makipag-join ka sa mga groups na nag-o-offer ng mga immigration, mga immigration insight, kasi hindi lahat pwede mag-offer ng immigration advice. So, join ka ng mga groups, or maybe if you have friends, family members, reach out to them. And also, if meron kang mga kakilala, you have to network. And by saying network, hindi lang siya dapat kung sino-sino lang. So, you have to network with the right people. Always remember that in the immigration law of Canada, only specific people are allowed to offer immigration advice. So the two people would be the lawyers and immigration consultant. So if you are to network, if you are to reach out to a certain someone, it has to be an immigration lawyer or an immigration consultant. Okay?
Thank you so much. Napakaliwanag, napakaganda, napaka-informative ang 10 tips on applying an LMIA brought to you by our RCIC guest na si Debbie Piandong. May mga konti pa akong katanungan bago tayo magtapos, okay? So marami ang tourist na pumupunta rito hoping na magkaroon ng trabaho. Anong mapapayo mo sa kanila na sila ay turistang pupunta at hoping na mayroong trabaho?
Okay. Ang pinaka first advice ko is maintain home ties. Kasi when you come here as a tourist, the assumption ng IRCC who approve your papers is meron kang babalikan. So let's say for example, you are here in Canada and then, 'di ba, alam naman natin lahat, you are able to stay here for 6 months, right? Pero if in case there is something na halimbawa nakita ka ng employer, and remember I told you that the LMIA processing and even the work permit processing very lengthy siya, 'di ba? Lengthy siya. So kapag mag-maintain ka ng home ties, kasi maybe you will need to apply for an extension para makakuha ka ng work permit na yon. So kapag meron kang home ties in the Philippines or even in the other countries, it would be easier for you to apply for an extension kasi you have a stronghold in whichever or wherever country you were in the past.
Kung bibigyan mo ng rating yung mga nakikinig sa atin na mga turista na gusto mag-apply ng trabaho o kaya papunta pa lang dito na as tourist, ano ang parang grade mo? Mahirap makakuha ng trabaho? Medyo madali o madali? Para lang sa kaalaman nila, kasi yung iba, porket nakakuha ng visa, tourist visa, akala na nila, ito na, makakakuha na ako ng trabaho.
So, the grading would be very mahirap na mahirap. You know why? Kasi 'di ba, remember, hindi naman marami ng, especially mga Filipinas, kasi pwede na ETA, right? Pwede na pumunta dito na ETA lang kung merong previous visitor visa. So, mahirap kasi number one, the competition is fierce, 'di ba? Hindi lang Pilipino yung gustong mag-apply. There's a lot more nationalities na talagang gusto mag-apply, right? The number two, hindi lahat ng employers are willing to go through the LMIA process because number one, it's lengthy. Number two, it's mahal. So,
Ang gumagastos ng LMIA dapat kasi yung
employer.
kaya yung iba ayaw. Okay.
Yes. So, mahirap na mahirap. It will not be easy. So, lahat ng mga nagsasabing madali lang, it's not. Hindi siya.
So, meron bang difference kung mag-apply sila ng LMIA sa Canada na sila kaysa sa LMIA apply sila nasa Pilipinas sila? What do you think? Meron bang difference yan? Kasi iba gumagastos pa kung makapunta rito hoping na mas madali daw makakuha ng LMIA. Ano sa tingin mo? Anong insight mo doon?
Oo. I-clarify lang natin, yung LMIA kasi, the process, si employer talaga, it's employer driven. Si employer talaga yung mag-a-apply for that one.
Yes, that's right.
So, ang ano lang natin dito, when it comes to getting ano nga yung so when getting an LMIA, ano nga yung context ng question?
Kumbaga, saan mas madali makakuha ng trabaho?
Yeah. Sorry.
Kasi iba, akala nila porket nasa Canada, madali na makakuha ng trabaho dahil abot kamay na lang daw.
So, LMIA, okay na tayo doon na si employer driven, si employer yung mag-a-apply. And then, ang work permit bale. So, sa work permit, mas sasabihin ko na mas madali kung andito sa Canada na. Kasi, alam mo naman sa Philippines, kung sa Philippines kasi sa Pilipinas, after you get approved for your work permit, you will need to apply for an exit clearance, meron pang MWO, ano nga yung
mga Philippine government, Philippine government requirements.
Yes, and it can take some time. In my experience, may times na umaabot ng halos 1 taon para makaalis ng bansa. And sometimes pa, may mga na-offload because of this. So, I would say na medyo, si employer kasi, matagal na nga yung LMIA processing, papatagalin pa nung pagkuha ng mga exit clearance. Pero I know na this is to protect the OFWs, right? I have nothing against that. But if the question is kung ano ba yung mas mabilis, I would be brutally honest, ang mas mabilis talaga is when you are already here in Canada.
Nako, parang nakikita ko na yung mga iba na punta na tayo ng Canada. Okay. Alright. Thank you so much. So before we end, mga kababayan, last may parting words, advice sa atin ang ating guest na si Debbie Piandong sa mga kababayan natin.
Okay. Before to end this, I would like to remind everyone to talagang you do your research. Huwag tayo agad maniniwala sa mga influencers na mga sikat ngayon. Huwag tayo agad maniniwala sa kakilala natin na naging approved nakapunta dito sa Canada kasi hindi naman talaga sila qualified to offer immigration advice. So you always go to someone na merong credentials and are qualified to offer immigration advice para iwas scam, iwas heartbreak tayo.
At para malaman kung isang kababayan natin ay regulated Canadian immigration consultant, saan makikita ang pangalan niya na website?
Yun, that's a very good question. So if you want to know kung immigration consultant si person na ka-deal mo, i-google mo na lang kasi mahirap. I-google mo RCIC Find My Consultant. Okay? Or RCIC Find My Consultant, and then merong doon, may filter, search filter doon. Tapos, mo lang, kung last name ang binigay sa'yo, yung RCIC number or even the agency name, kung ano yung binigay sa'yo ng ka-deal mo, you search that. Kapag andun si consultant, most likely, talaga siya, hindi siya scam.
Kasi nga mga kababayan dito, mayroong official list ng mga regulated Canadian immigration consultants. So pag napunta kayo sa website na yun, which is the College of Immigration Consultants, lalabas ang pangalan niya doon sa search. So i-search nyo lang, Debbie Piandong. lalabas with honors. So, Debbie, ano pa ba ito sasabihin ko? Sa kanila mako-contact yung mga gustong mag-apply dito?
Ayun, thank you so much. So, for those na gustong mag-apply, you can email us at questions@multiculturalimmigration.ca. By the way, the name of our company is Multicultural Immigration. For those na gusto ka akong makita in person, you can visit our office in Surrey. It's at Unit 204, 10190 152A Street. And we also have another location in Langley if you want to see us in Langley, but you will need to book an appointment. So at 20641 Logan Avenue, Langley. Okay.
Thank you so much, Debbie, for gracing our show or our program. Good luck on your profession, on your mga dealings.
Thank you, Rafiq, for having me here. And thank you guys for listening and tuning in.
And that's a wrap, mga kababayan. Thank you for watching ABC All About Canada. We are here to inform, educate, inspire our fellow Filipinos with regards to pressing issues, interesting issues in our community. Once again, I am your host. My name is Rovic Canono. I am also an immigration consultant and a realtor as well. Thank you, and we'll see you again.
In a world where borders can sometimes divide, there is one place that stands as a beacon of hope, an opportunity for all. Welcome to Canada, a land of diversity, acceptance, and endless possibilities. At Multicultural Immigrations, we understand the dreams and aspirations of individuals from all walks of life who wish to call Canada their home. Whether you're a skilled worker seeking for new opportunities, or a family looking to reunite with your loved ones, or a student eager to pursue your education, we're here to make your immigration journey smooth and stress-free. Our team of dedicated professionals is committed to providing personalized assistance every step of the way. Because at Multicultural Immigration, we believe that everyone deserves a chance to thrive in this beautiful country we call home. Contact us today and let us help you make your Canadian dream a reality. Dial 877-5141504 or email questions@multiculturalimmigration.ca. And together, let's make your dream a reality.